Hey Flock, it's Tuesday, August 4th, and here's what quackened last week. Alright, so my real only completed mini is Bosshorn here from Riot Quest, and I completed this morning, so it's a very short list. And the reason for that is, of course, GenCon. I taught Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all at GenCon. There was some prep work before that. And I also just been doing a lot of assembly and kind of like some early stages of a few different projects. So just been swamped on sort of like the manual labor, boring off-camera stuff. And this is basically all I've got completed. So I'm going to take a little bit of a detour from what I normally do and show you some projects that I've been working on. But first, here's Bosshorn from my Borderlands of Immoren project, which is my Borderlands-themed Riot Quest. So I chose to style her after a Hyperion combat engineer from Borderlands 2, which are, you know, the guys wearing the big sort of robot suits, and it felt pretty fitting. So this one was a little bit easier because all the yellow was already laid down by airbrush. I had her assembled months ago, and I threw the yellow down on her the same time I did Destructotron 3000 as Claptrap and the Hyperion suit Sir Dreyfus. So her yellow was already down, and that was laid down with airbrush. I believe it was P3 Moldy Ochre, Hearthfire, and then a little bit of sulfuric yellow all on top. And then everything else is just details and inking. And she's one of the units, again, where I've done the base with the class color integrated into it. So, you know, it's full blue because blue for guard. So she's going to be hitting the table in Riot Quest, hopefully this Friday. GenCon kind of screwed up gaming last week, so with any luck, things are kind of back on track now. So speaking of GenCon, I taught comic style 3 times, used Sir Frogsworth from Tom Mason Miniatures each time. And I didn't include these as completed because the belts and the pants aren't painted, and on a lot of them, the back of the sword isn't either. So they're 90% done. I'll probably finish them up just for the heck of it. Now, previous versions of the class, I sped it up a lot. When I taught this at Adepticon first, I taught it in 90 minutes, and instead I made it a 3-hour class online. So there's a little bit more time for me to explain sort of my journey and stuff like that. But I also, because there was a little more time, I let my students pick what colors I was going to be working with instead of going in with a sort of like a predetermined sequence I was using. And so, whereas before I've got a shelf behind me with like 4 or 5 fully painted Sir Frogsworths from different Adepticon classes. And now I get to add some colored frogs to it too. So I may actually raffle these off this month as Twitch subscriber prizes. So I have not fully decided yet what I'm going to do with them. I may keep them for myself. I don't know. I don't need like an array of frogs, but they're pretty cute. I love how the green came out on this one though. I highlighted that. That started off as P3 Worm Green. Then I mixed in little bits of yellow to get that highlight instead, and I think it came out really, really good. It's got a very vibrant, froggy kind of feel. So anyways, those guys are almost done. Kind of counts. So I guess you'll probably see them again next week. The other big project I've been working on, of course, is the Synthwave Necrons. We had the test model. He's now joined by a completed Scarab Swarm, so we've got 2 now, fully done. But we've now got a lot of them almost completed. So there's now 5 more Scarab Swarms coming into the late stages. You can see basically just have to brighten up the oranges and finish the basing grids on them. And then one of the Crypto Thralls has all his base coats down, and we're really just into the detailing stage 2. I want to say Plasma Sight, I actually can't remember this thing's name. And the big boy, the Overlord, he is coming close to ready as well. I've still got to do a little bit of work on the tassels here. They need to be a little more blue. And then lots of highlighting to go. The Royal Warden, same deal. And finally, the Plasmancer, the Cryptek. So they're not done, but they're probably 4 hours away from being done, give or take. So hopefully next week you'll see them all done, and then I'll work on some more warriors and so on. One other little project that's been slowly chugging along is a Salamander's Army I'm working on a commission. And I was holding off on working on this one for a little while because of the pandemic, because it was for a business and they had to close their doors. So it didn't make sense for me to be kind of pushing through it. I started picking that up again a few weeks ago. You notice he's missing his shoulder pads because I don't have the Salamander's upgrade pack in stock yet, so we'll be adding that soon. So he's one of 20 intercessors. There's also 2 repulsors, 2 impulsors, some aggressors, and a couple characters, and a dreadnought and a warsuit. This is probably the furthest piece along, so he's kind of been my my test piece for the intercessors. But they're all coming really close. So now this green metallic here is airbrushed lead belcher over black primer, and then a coat of Citadel Contrast Warp Lightning airbrushed over that. So that's Warp Lightning over lead belcher for this shiny metallic green. And yes, I didn't drill the barrels out. I'm going to do that at the end. Or paint a black dot on there. I have not decided which of the two approaches I'm going to take, but I'm aware of it. It's not something I missed. It's something I just haven't done yet. It'll get done. Don't worry. Alright, well, let's bring the boss back. This is my favorite piece this week. So this is done in comic style, but there's a couple concessions I made. With all the different rivets on here, I actually just dropped a little bead of Agrax Earthshade around them, rather than trying to draw tiny little black lines. It helps bring the tone of the model down a little bit, keeps the yellows a little bit brighter because there's just not so much black happening. Now with all these gears and pipes and, you know, pistons and whatnot, rather than lining all that by hand with a brush, I went ahead and I just cheated a little bit, and that is 100% just a wash of Basilicanum Gray over the metal areas. And the lining really is just focused on the metals. Now that's not the first time I've done that. I actually did the same thing on my Not Claptrap. There's just a wash on the weapons out here. I thinned it down a little bit more, though. This is actually just like straight Basilicanum Gray on here, whereas on this one it was very, very thin. But same idea. And you can tell on both of these a little bit of Agrax was brought in to tint the shadows and so on. But I think it's pretty effective, because you really only need comic style on those really, really punchy, bright parts. And the darker parts, you know, the black inking or the black wash kind of does enough of the job that it's convincing without all that extra labor. So I'm pretty happy with that. So looking forward to this week, I'm expecting to get most of the Necrons done. Might still be the basing to go, because those little grid bases actually take a fair bit of work. I'd like to get one more Riot Quest unit finished, but I haven't decided who that's going to be yet. And probably a little more work on the Salamanders, and maybe the Frogs if I'm lucky. I ideally would like to spend a little bit of time sculpting as well, but we'll see. It's already looking like a pretty busy week. Now, last week was also a pretty good week for videos. The Fire Elemental collaboration with My Mini Factory came out, as well as my video on how to magnetize the Warcaster Duskwolf. Today, right after I finish publishing this video, I'm also going to be making the Black Panther comic style tutorial public. And I'm really excited with that one. I really love how that video came out. It's a lot of concise information, and it's a really cool mini. I really like the direction I kind of took it, making it more purple than black. So I'm excited to share that video with you guys, and I'm going to have some more comic style stuff coming up later this week as well. I'm in the process of editing 2 or 3 different videos. I'm not sure which one's going to kind of cross the finish line right now, but something will be there soon. All right, so this is Mike from Epic Duck Studios signing off. See you next Tuesday.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed that one, please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you get notifications when I post new videos in the future. If you want to take your support even further, you can do that at patreon.com/epicduck. Every little bit helps keep the lights on and the paint flowing, puts new models on the table so I can make interesting videos, and most importantly, puts a roof over my family's head and food on the table. You can also join me for live painting shows several times a week at twitch.tv/epicduckstudios. I'd love if you came by and watched the show sometime and followed the channel. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who's supported my content over the years, both past and present. It's been an absolutely wild ride, and I couldn't do this without all the wonderful fans and flockers out there. The hobby community is just an amazing group of people, and you really make this worth doing. So let's just keep on doing this together, making more content, and just being fantastic together for years to come. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, do something epic.